SVG's Jason Dachman here with another episode of SVG Sports Tech on Demand. I am joined by Peter Guglielmino, IBM Media and Entertainment CTO. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I see you're in your studio at home.
Yeah.
Where are you calling us from? And most importantly, is everybody at your household and on your team safe and healthy?
Well, thanks for asking, Jason. Yes, everybody's safe and healthy. Thank you. The team is doing well. We're all following the guidelines, so everything is good. And hopefully everything is good with you as well.
It is. And yeah, thanks for asking. So,
Great.
look, there is no NAB physical show this year, but there's still a lot going on right now when it comes to technology in the media and entertainment sector. So let's kind of start out with, what are one or two of the big trends that you're seeing right now in the industry that IBM is working on in terms of, making sure the industry is headed in the right direction with some good best practices?
Yeah, one of the areas that we've been focusing on is really about data governance and how to establish enterprise-wide governance policies so that the governance policy follows the data. And we've created an open source project. It's called Project Egeria. It's under the Open Data Initiative project. And basically what that framework allows you to do is create these policies that allow you to dictate how data needs to be handled wherever it needs to go.
Right.
And one of the things that we're using is a combination of automation and Istio and Kubernetes to basically provision data resources, infrastructure, to make sure that it's in compliance with the policies that are set up for governance. And part of that policy is being able to understand how that data needs to be accessed, where it needs to be accessed, whether encryption is required, and then also when it's egressed out of that storage environment, does it meet the policy? In other words, if I'm doing some type of data analytics on some bunch of data,
Right.
a source of data, I want to be able to ensure that, say, personal identification information is not egressed out of that storage volume. That's part of the policy. Also, even if I have a subset of that data that I want to write somewhere, where is it going to be written? I want to ensure that I can determine ahead of time where that needs to be written. And I want to take that out of the control of the individual. I want to make sure that the chief data officer can set those policies, and those policies are consistently applied regardless of who's accessing that data.
Yeah, I would think that that's more important than ever right now with so many
Exactly.
people working remotely, a lot of hybrid on-prem and cloud
Exactly.
infrastructures coming through. So, I mean, the need for that is only going to grow in coming years, I think, right?
Yeah, right. And I would encourage all the folks watching to look at the Project Egeria. Like I said, it's an open source framework, and contribute to it, look it over, and see how it might be able to be used in their environment as well. Part of it's also being able to create these agents that allow you to integrate multiple sources of data, but again, like I said, do it with the proper governance.
Right,
So
right.
pretty interesting.
Where can people find that? Where can people access that?
So if you just Google Project Egeria, Egeria, or it's under the Open Data Initiative Project, ODPi, Open Project Data Initiative, something like that,
Yep.
you'll be able to find it.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I encourage everyone to do so because, again, it's only going to get more important as time goes on with the way things are going in terms of workflows. And speaking of those workflows, I know that you guys with your sister company, Aspera,
Yeah.
played an interesting role with Fox Sports at the Super Bowl and at the World Cup. And that's going to kind of reflect the way that a lot of these workflows are going in terms of remote production and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole work at home use case is going to become, I think, more and more prevalent. Because you just look at what's happening today. No one could have anticipated that it wouldn't be just one physical location, but pretty much every physical location that has a problem. How are you going to be able to deliver entertainment, sports specifically? And so the work that my colleague, Mike Flathers, who's the CTO at Aspera at IBM, he basically helped with folks from Telestream and the guys from Fox and so on, put together the solution to do the at-home production. And basically it's a combination of, using on-premise encoders, being able to use the Aspera technology to transport that back over an unmanaged link, but at full resolution. and then give the editors and so on the ability to work from their location at home, which is in many instances not only saves money, but it's much more comfortable for the people. They can work where they normally work from. They have all their tools available and so on. So a pretty interesting use case. I think it's going to just be expanded more and more.
Right.
And,
And you can get the best talent too. I think that's one really
that's a
interesting part
great,
of remote production is, right? I mean, there's only so many great
absolutely.
editors out there, right?
That's a fantastic point. You're right on the money on that. Absolutely. And the other thing that was interesting was, as they were, bringing the live stream back, they were also bringing all the ISOs back, and they were able to archive all of those ISOs. By the time the match finished, everything was already archived. Then the editors could go back into that archive and start culling through that footage to be able to create the highlights reels and from different angles and so on. So it was really very effective and, a good use case for, cloud-based storage and, Aspera technology and Telestream technology. And clearly the folks from Fox did a huge job on their end as well.
Yeah,
So,
it was a really fantastic workflow. The Fox guys had presented at a couple SVG conferences about it.
yeah,
Very interesting, and it does reflect where I think we all know we're going to be headed
yeah,
once we do come out the other end of this. There will be live sports again, of course. There will be studio production and so on.
yeah,
And when that
sure.
happens, though, it's going to be extremely different. So I'm not asking you to necessarily have a crystal ball here and give us some Nostradamus type prediction. But I am curious, how do you think this situation is going to change the way people think about their storage, their infrastructure, and their workflows on the other side?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to affect them. I mean, clearly there's going to be, and it's been a trend for a while, right, to move as much stuff into a cloud-based infrastructure as possible, but to do it in a way that's secured and managed. So that's where the whole governance aspects comes in. I think there's always going to be, those folks who have massive archives who, for whatever reason, want to keep stuff on premise and whatever, and that's going to continue. And we clearly have, a dedication to, cold storage technologies like tape and so on. And, we supply a lot of that to even a lot of the big cloud providers, who put that on the back end of their cold storage.
Right. It's tape somewhere.
Yeah,
It's somewhere
exactly.
there's tape. Right.
Yeah. And so, there's going to be folks who want to do 8K editing, maybe that's going to be local with a flash unit. But, more and more, a lot of the production is going to originate in the cloud. And there's going to be high performance storage there as well. And, being able to stream things in from remote sites, work on it in the cloud, distribute it, it's all going to be, where things are going to go. And the key thing, like you mentioned before, it's, can I do all these workflows? Can I wrap the perfect governance around them so that I can protect my content? I can make sure that I respect how it's being used, especially if it's not just audio and video, but metadata information or audience information that I want to make sure I'm within compliance for privacy and so on.
Right. Absolutely. Do you anticipate the popularity of object-based storage to grow in the future? I mean, that creates a nice little on-ramp to the cloud,
Yeah.
on-ramp to hybrid on-prem cloud storage environments, things like that, I would think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think object storage is certainly going to continue to be, very important. And I think the issue has been a lot of the existing tooling has always been file-based tooling. And as that matures to become more, cloud native and in the way it's implemented, then they'll take advantage of object store. And, there's certain things you can't argue with. I mean, clearly being able to, use things like erasure coding to make
Right.
sure you have, high availability and it's protected and you don't have to have multiple copies all over the place. I mean, these are all great technologies and clearly they're going to move forward as the industries move forward and the
Well,
vendors move forward.
yeah, we'll see how it all plays out, but I think we all know there's a lot of changes coming ahead,
Yep.
and we'll take them in stride, and I'm sure the industry will benefit in the long run. But Peter, we really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much, and our best to everybody at the IBM team.
Thank you, Jason. And the same to you. It's been a pleasure.
For more episodes of SVG Sports Tech on Demand, stay tuned to sportsvideo.org and the SVG YouTube channel.